Hey everybody, welcome to another Tuesday night. And that's right, it's never a dull day in Pokemon, is it? It really seems like we went through some really slow times where it was just kind of status quo. Everything just kind of moved, but there was always news. There's always something going on, of course, in the hobby. And today is no different. Once again, we continually see new things happen all of the time and without resolve. So today we're going to have talking about some of the things that are going on right now in the hobby. Of course, I'm going to try and stay closer to Mike because there are some people that say I'm a little quiet on this mic. So I tried making some adjustments. Hopefully that helps when it comes down to the sound problem that supposedly was, I didn't hear it, but some people say it was quiet. Maybe I don't know. So, but let me know in the chat if or in the comments. Do you guys think it's too quiet? I made some adjustments here. I never thought it was very quiet, but I do know that sometimes I back away like this and the volume kind of drops down. So I'll try and prevent myself from doing that. But let's talk about what's going on in Pokemon. Number one, seems like people are just nitpicking and starting to attack people for any reason under the sun. And this is something that we saw in 2021, 2020. It's nothing new, especially with the hype and FOMO, scalping, reselling, being able to do quick flips. All these things come back and all the negativity comes right back with it. And that's something that we are seeing again. And that's something that is old news, but new news to some people in the hobby. I'm seeing some content creators specifically going after individuals that don't necessarily need to be gone after, while leaving some of the bigger content creators that may come after them or their followers may come after them and leaving them alone. So some of the ones without as big following, they're quick to go after them and have these individuals. And, I'm not going to sit here and name names. You guys can just do the research. I mean, there's tons of them out there right now. Specifically from a content creator, I just saw on Instagram kind of get called out for it by the person that they called out. And they're having kind of a little bit of a back and forth on that. And it is what it is, right? I mean, sitting there, that's the hardest part about content creation sometimes, is trying to find that balance in content creation where you are literally finding that nice smooth point on where you're not really pushing into things and causing too many issues, where you're being respectful in a way to individuals out there in a hobby. Even like myself, I try not to call people out, and I will continue to not try and call people out. I'll leave it pretty general. I mean, if you're smart and if you follow the hobby, you're probably going to catch my drift, but I'm not necessarily going to call out people individually. I don't want on my videos to be that negativity, but I do want to talk about the fact that when it comes down to the current situation in America, when we have lack of products, when there's lots of money flowing around all over the place and money is prevalent, it really creates a new trajectory in the Pokemon TCG, at least until product returns. And when we see the return of the product, that's going to be a different change again in the hobby, where we could see things kind of go back to a normal state where we don't have these issues any longer. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens as these reprints continue to roll out. Temporal Forces with lackluster. For anybody out there that didn't even know, Temporal Forces did get a small reprint. And if that's going to be the reprint size, we're in trouble. I can tell you that right now. If that's what we see is what we saw with Temporal Forces, we are going to be in a really rough spot when it comes down to Pokemon TCG for the near future. So hopefully we see some changes on that. Going through, I don't know if anybody has seen now with tag slabs are easily breakable. I had a friend actually do it himself, and it is very breakable. He said those slabs are actually, he liked them. He actually started using tag quite a bit here about 8 months ago. 8 months ago, a year ago, he started using tag. And he said he never really put it to a stress test. I mean, like I said, you can grab any of these, if I were to go ahead and grab PSA slabs. So let's just say I grab like this. Good example. PSA, really. So I got this little slab. Sorry, Rock. If you're Rock Pokemon, if you see this, he did give this to me. It was a thank you, but I'm going to show you can take these slabs. And I mean, you're not going to break that slab. I mean, I'm sure 1 out of a million might pop for some stupid reason, but in general, that slab has some rigidity to it, and it's a really strong slab. PSA, of course, has maintained that quality part of their slabs. You can't really complain with the overall performance of a PSA slab, and overall, it's definitely something to be considering when you're looking at what we're going through right now. And now you're seeing tag. There's a video. Roxanne covered it as well. I know Shiny Vert covered it. I'm just going to go over it as well because it's something that I actually had a friend try. And he's been using tag for about 8 months, as I just said. And he had the exact same thing where it really, like you said, he actually took it and kind of squeezed it. So, for example, if I grab this one right here again, he was going like this, and all he had to do was kind of put a little pressure on it and twist the front top corner, and the whole side split. Now, the real question is can you do that cleanly? If it's that easy to do just by putting it in your hand and kind of pushing on an area, is that going to potentially create an issue? Now, he even said that his cracked across, so it made a crack, kind of like you saw in the other one that Shiny Vert did. And that is that it caused a crack to go across the screen right there, or across the plastic there. So at least some hope that if someone is breaking them, that potentially, maybe, possibly, it won't be an issue. But he also did try several other slabs, so he has hundreds of them, and he just randomly grabbed some that he didn't care if they broke, because he, like you said, he didn't want to grab some of the good ones and try it with, which now, like he said, may not be good any longer. But he's definitely tried it with some of the other slabs, and he said it wasn't every single one. It wasn't like it was 100% that it did that. It was more, he tried about 5 of them that he had that were like lower grades, and he ended up breaking like 1 out of the 5. Were very easy. He said 2 of them potentially, possibly, could have a big issue when it comes down to, if he were to play with it more and kind of sit there and kind of keep bending it, it might break more and more. So that's another thing in the community right now that's going to be another concern, another grading company with slab issues. And it's not something we want to hear, whether it's CGC being able to crack open that slab and, potentially cleanly crack open that slab. Now, if Tag is capable of doing that, does it take a lot of validity? And it puts a lot of doubt in your mind now, which is really, really damning to a grading company, is when you start having doubts on whether the card inside that slab is the card that you're buying. Is that the one that was graded, or is it another one that was put in there because it was so easy to crack that open and clean that someone found that out and now saw that and now is able to do that with several tag slabs? So are you getting, a 10 card, or are you getting a lower one? And that's really going to be an interesting question for that part of the whole thing and where that goes. And I am reading the comments real quick, so there's some really good information I was going to get to with this distribution too. And so we'll kind of work on that one here in just a minute here. So yeah, you guys are doing some really good comments there with Paladin cards, Paladin cards, with the pricing of some of these products. So once again, good questions. We'll bring that up in just a minute, because this is a situation that I've been running into as well. So, and I'll actually pull up an email, because I did get an email from Southern Hobby, and I'll give you the prices that they want to charge per item through Southern Hobby right now. So it's kind of insane what we're looking at on that part as well. So when it comes down to dull moments, definitely not one. Another grading company having issues. Tags, fairly new. AI grading, once again, following an AGS, and Tag doing the AI grading, touch-free grading systems. So definitely another situation where we could potentially see some issues with that end of things. And once again, doesn't seem like it's the grading so much as it is potentially the slabs. So one thing to be watching if you're looking at Tag, stay tuned. Keep your eyes open on it. Maybe, I hate to say this to a grading company, but maybe now's the time to kind of maybe cool it on Tag a little bit and let them see what happens with these. So that's what's it right now. So once again, these are all situations that we have and what we're doing and what you're seeing right now. Other non-dull moments, of course, is just a constant nitpicking, and that's just something that's never going to change right now until we get flooded with product. Like we were 2 years ago, it was quiet. Nobody was really picking on everybody. Everybody stayed in their own lane. Everybody just did their thing. Some content creators are always going to want to be the justice people. Some content creators are just going to say what they want. And this is going to continually create this up and down movement that we continually see in the hobby. And stay cool. I mean, it is what it is right now, guys. This hobby is not something that's going to stay in the static state of just what it is. I mean, it's going to change. Something's going to break, whether it's people leaving and starting to cause a reduction that way, whether it's Pokemon flooding the market full of product, whether it's PSA shutting down. Things are going to change this market, and things are definitely going to be an issue and going to change. The issues are going to change. What happens is going to change. How things happen are going to change, and how you weather the storm is really going to be the detail on that part of it. So once again, just really interesting things that take everything with a grain of salt. If you want to get into the drama and you like drama, there's a lot of drama out there right now, and that's going to be continuing. But in general, people are going to do what people are going to do. I don't fault anybody for what they do. Do I think it's right to have a fight in front of a Pokemon Center vending machine waiting for it to allow you to purchase another item. I don't think I think that's ridiculous. Not something I would personally do. It's just not worth my time to do that. But in general, these are also things that are, happening as well. I'm sure people have seen that video. So like I said, the dull moments just continue to roll when it comes down to this. So now I'm going to go to Paladin Cards, which is one thing I was going to bring up, and I'll pull up the email right now because this is coming from Southern Hobby. I got an email from them with some product, and it was so nice of them to actually have some Pokemon product that they were wanting to sell me. And the funny thing is about this Pokemon product is that it's not exactly what you would think it would be. I'm just not going to lie. So if I go down, let me pull the email. And this came in on March 8th. So this came in last week. Here's what we got here. And it says, hello, we have a spring sell-off. And here are the items that we have available on our spring sell-off. So we have available for you Surging Sparks booster displays, $257 a piece. So a booster box is $257. Surging Sparks Elite Trainer boxes, $90 a piece. We have built-in battle boxes, $50 a piece for Surging Sparks. Surging Sparks booster bundles, $36 a piece. We then go into Twilight Masquerade booster bundles, $36 a piece. Shrouded Fable Elite Trainer boxes, $50 a piece. And Paradox Rift Elite Trainer boxes at $65. So I am literally getting MSR or market pricing from my distributor at this point in time, which is absolutely ridiculous and dumb. And here we go. Going into what Paladin Cards said at the beginning of the chat here, that we do have the same thing. He says getting from both from two distros. So that's exactly what I'm getting. He's actually saying $199, which is better than what I'm getting from my booster boxes. They are at MSR, or they are at current market pricing. That's what they're offering on their spring clean out, which thank goodness we're cleaning out our stocks when we've been having no product available. So handy for them to have something when they haven't had anything for months. So yeah, once again, it's just a really interesting fact. But once again, I'm not buying anything at market value, especially since we know Surging Sparks is already getting a reprint. We know that Twilight sounds like it might be getting a reprint. Hit or miss. I haven't gotten any, once again, still no distributor confirmation on that one. Paldean Fates, I'm hearing that from ACD, from the distributor. Surging Sparks from the distributor. Temporal Forces, of course, is already hitting. Obsidian Flame is coming from a distributor. And also from, Prismatic Evolutions. Why am I drawing a blank on that one? Prismatic Evolutions is the other one that we got. So those we are for sure know from distributor that reprints are coming. The quantities, we have no idea. So once again, if it's a Temporal Forces size, we're in trouble. It isn't going to help us market in any way, shape, or form. Does anybody even know that there was a Temporal Forces reprint at this point in time? If you do, please raise your hand in the chat. I'd be interested to know, if you didn't hear it from me, have you seen any evidence of this said reprint? So yeah, very, very sad and hard on that part of it. Paladin Cards just said we got 6 boxes of Twilight and Surging Sparks. Yeah. So once again, you're right up there on market price too. I don't know which two distributors you have. I have ACD and I got Southern Hobby, and that was pricing from Southern Hobby was the one I read. I have not seen any spring cleanouts from ACD at this point in time. So that's not on the table. And I have another third party. It's Games Mothership. I've been with them for quite a while. Once again, they are very, very low on product because they get from distributor, and then they distribute out. It's kind of like Pokemart USA. They've been around a little bit longer, so I've been with them for quite a while up until I got distributor. But I still hang out with them because sometimes it gives me an option to hopefully get more product or have opportunities at products, and that's something I've been wanting to give up at this point in time. So once again, if you are looking for it, go to Games Mothership. Right now, it's not worth it. I can tell you that right now. Currently, there's no product available for Pokemon whatsoever on there, except for crap that nobody wants. So just so you guys know, but definitely an option when times are good to have the full opportunities available for you. Get that little bit closer to distro price without having if you don't have the availability to get in a distro. So once again, that's what we're seeing on that part of things. We're going to go down. He says Smoothie B says how to get distro. You need a small business, right? You got to have a small business license in order to get a distro. You got to have a small business license typically you have to be in business for some point in time. And the other thing that you really need to do is that you need to be considering um, getting in on a low time. Trying to get into a distro now, you're not going to do it. I can tell you that right now. Distros can't keep up with the demand of their current sales. They're not going to be adding more accounts at this point in time unless you can somehow prove to them that you're going to be a big baller and you're going to have a lot of money to be buying from distro. If you've got a way to show that you're going to be looking at like $50,000 to $100,000 a month from distro, they'll probably let you in at this point in time for Pokemon. If you're looking at Magic or some other things, you sometimes have to have a brick and mortar store. They kind of did that with Pokemon before the last kind of lull that we had here in Scarlet and Violet, but they kind of relaxed that a little bit, which is where it gave me an opportunity to get in on distro, was because there was so much product available. It opened up that market a little bit there in 2023 to where they allowed some businesses. So I was able to show that I had so much sales through streaming and all that, and it gives you that availability. And so you got to have a few ways to get into distro. It's not something that's just like given easily. It's not like you're just going to go out and quick get a business license someplace and you're going to get into distro just because you have a business license. That's not going to be enough to do it. You're going to have to, at this point in time, right now, today, you're going to have to show some age to your business, show that you've been around for quite a while. Like if you've been around for 5 to 10 years, you might have a better shot. If you've got a large quantity of orders that you can prove that you're going to put this much money down, they may require you to order so much per month in order to become a distro. So they might say at this point in time that if you want distro pricing, you got to buy at least $35,000 or $40,000 worth of product every month right now. And that's going to be the requirement for you to get into a distro. So these are all things that you need to consider. The other part is too, is depending on where you go through distro and how they work. Like now they're trying to push other TCGs as well. So if I'm ordering from distro, they're trying to push like Magic. Well, I can't really push Magic because I'm not brick and mortar, but they'll push like Yu-Gi-Oh! And some of the other cards that Lorcana is another one that they've been pushing a little bit. One Piece, they're kind of usually sold out on that. It's pretty hard to get One Piece. But these are all things too that definitely are situations to get into distributor. That's not necessarily easy to do. And depending on how the market is on a current point, will give you maybe an access or a doorway to get into it. And right now, that doorway probably doesn't exist for most people. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and try and make it sound like there's a chance. I'm sure if you could prove, or if you were to sign a contract saying you'd spend $50,000 to $100,000 a month, they'd probably find a way to get you in. But unless you're capable of doing that, it's probably not likely you're going to get into a distributor at this point in time, especially for Pokemon. Especially if you're looking for Pokemon, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to say it's impossible. Maybe if you did like what you call it, Echo Base. Echo Base literally just sat there and kept calling until he finally got one to answer the phone, and then they let him in back in 2000 and 2001. So literally just kept calling and annoying him. Then maybe you might get in on him, but yeah, it's just something that right now is probably not in the cards. But yes, you do have to have a small business. You usually have to have a small business. You have to have a business license, some kind of resale license, and a tax license for whatever state you're in. You'll have to have that in place. You're probably going to have some form of longevity at this point in time, and also a large sum of cash in order to get into a distro. So that's just something to be considering. If you're looking currently at getting into one, it's probably better to wait until something changes in this market again. Maybe when Gen 10 kicks off, it'll slow down again as we go into a new generation of Pokemon. Sometimes that'll cause the market to slump like it did in Scarlet and Violet, and there might be an opening then. It just might be a lot of testing the waters and trying to get into a distro at this point in time. So that's another question I see here. I'm trying to go through the questions because there's some really good questions you guys are bringing up in the chats, or some comments right now that I'm finding very, very interesting at the beginning of this one. And so we got Michael Lee putting up here, when does Pokemon tank with the market? The market is going to need a large supplement of product in order to see a tank. It's not going to happen easy at this point in time. If we continue to see what we're seeing with like a Temporal Forces reprint or something like that, that's not going to do it. We got the Team Rocket set building right now. The first set of Team Rocket in Japan is releasing here, I believe, this week or next week. So we do have the release of the first part of Team Rocket set hitting the ground right now in Japan. So that's building as well. That's going to cause more hype and FOMO here in the near future. So how that's going to work out is definitely going to be interesting to see on the United States front. Are we going to see like the same amount of quantity we see in Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade and all the other sets, or are they going to finally bump the set up? Are we going to start to see a higher production rate? Journey Together really, really slacking when it comes down to the demand currently. So unless we start seeing some numbers bump up on these sets, the demand is going to be very, very hard to die out. iFOMO put on here, good question though, Andy. Do you think the market will die down before, or after the 30th, as things are right now? And it's really gonna, like, once again, I'm gonna say the same thing. It's gonna come down to Pokemon. The only thing right now that's driving this ship is the captain, and that's gonna be Pokemon International. What they do is really gonna justify how well this hype and FOMO continues, whether this hype and FOMO continues, and whether or not these markets are gonna shift. If we continue to see low prints, not a lot of product, not a lot of availability, it could keep going on past the 30th. Or we're going to get to a point too, possibly before the 30th, where people just get tired of it, right? How many months or how much time are people going to spend fighting for a Pokemon pack? How many times are people going to sit in line at Walmart and get into a fist fight with a scalper trying to get this product that they're looking for? So Journey Together hits the shelf. How many people are going to sit at Walmart and have a fist fight over an ETB of Journey Together? And that's really going to come down to the last factor that I would really consider when you're trying to judge this market and trying to decide how this market is going to overall perform, is you're going to have to continue to look at all of the things that build a market and what keeps the Pokemon market stable. And number one, it's growth. People coming in, people getting involved, people being in the market are what help grow the market. People that are enjoying the hobby and streaming, people that are involved with streaming and being able to find chase packs at a reasonable price are definitely something that drive a market. Having new blood come into it, whether it's kids or individuals or people my age coming back into it, enjoying it and wanting to spend that money, are definitely reasons for the market to grow or continue to stay stabilized in a fashion. But if it does not get anything where people have to continually spend double MSRP for packs, where you can't get that streaming. I'm even seeing it on streaming a little bit now where people are getting tired of paying the price for packs. And I get it. I absolutely do. There's only so much time that people want to spend money on packs at double MSRP. And when the next set's coming and it already looks like you're going to be spending double MSRP right away off the bat on the next set, then people really, really, really start to lose interest on streaming. And like I'm seeing in the comments here, iPhone will put it in here. He's moving the One Piece. I've heard people moving back towards Lorcana. I've heard people moving towards Magic and some of the new sets, but serialized cards. People are shifting out of Pokemon because of the fact that product is becoming very difficult to get at a reasonable price, and people will hold out for a while in hopes that things will fix and change and the market will adjust, or Pokemon International will start printing product where they can get it at a reasonable price again and be able to open their packs for fun. Some of these people, it's a gambling addiction. So once again, you're looking at a gambling addiction in this market in a way. And I don't want to say it's a gambling addiction necessarily. It's a form of entertainment that can be kind of addicting, and it causes an addiction. You get that endorphin rush when you hit that SIR or that IR, when you hit the Bulbasaur out of Stellar Crown, or the Squirtle out of Stellar Crown, or you hit the Pikachu SIR, or you go in and you hit that Umbreon, or one of the big evolutions chases inside of Prismatic Evolutions. You get that endorphin rush, and that's where you create that habit of someone wanting to open packs. But when you have a certain amount of money, and I've talked about this back in 2021, when someone only has so much money to spend on Pokemon per month, so they're going through and they say, okay, I've got $100 to spend on Pokemon this month, and packs go from being $5 a pack to $8 to $9 to $10 a pack. And now that budget doesn't go as far. People can become bored very quickly, because instead of them being able to open 20 packs, they're now able to open 10 to 12. People start to lose interest and they start to really fall back and not be as involved into the rip and chip side of things. So people, instead of coming and buying 20 packs, are buying, 8. And it really starts to slow down on that fact as well. And it's getting really, really hard to justify that for some people. So it could come back if we get a little bit of a reprint here, enough to satisfy this market. Then we could definitely see the markets change and things kind of update, and we could see possibly people come back. We could almost create another small little drive-in if there becomes product available again. So Pokemon International in some ways is really, really being difficult, because if they were to print even a large reprint at this point in time, if they were to do original release numbers one more time, it would really do a good job at correcting the current market and may bring people back that are just on the fence. They're just like, okay, like iFOMO in here, sitting there, iFOMO sitting there going, I love Pokemon, but I'm going over to One Piece because it's a little bit easier for me if I pack, have fun, and do these kind of things, and not have to worry about dealing with all the scalpers and fighting and all the other things that come with Pokemon. But the second Pokemon products become available, all of a sudden they'll be back and they'll start going back into it again. And I know a couple other people that are on the fence right now. They'll buy a pack here or there, but they're not buying the quantities that they used to, just because they're tired of the pricing and they're just not wanting to get in the middle of all the fighting and everything for these particular items. So it's something that's going to have to change, and it all can change how long this market holds, where this market goes, if people are willing to pull on this, and how things are going to continue to move forward. So yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that go down to the market itself. How far it goes is really, like I said, up to Pokemon International at this point. They need to do something to recapture the people that we're losing and get them back before they get too far gone and lose this interest in this hobby and move into the next hobby. Once they move into the next hobby and they get established in that, it's really hard to drag them back. I mean, you're going to have to do something pretty fancy to get them back. And number two, they're going to have to know that there's going to be a sustainability to it again. Because if there is no sustainability to it, then people are going to be really hesitant to jump back into Pokemon. So definitely something to be considering. I don't know if we'll make the 30th. I really don't in this current situation. I could see it not tanking, but I could definitely see it starting to drop and come back down a little bit before the 30th. Maybe get another bump on the 30th as, somebody like myself and other people that are on the fence, or not myself, but other people that are older, see another generations and see another celebration set at the 30th, may put their little claws into us and pull us back. But it's definitely going to be really interesting to see how that works. Let's see. So we go down here, distro, going through those. Finally starting something. Anyone can get a distro, but it's easier during a bear market. Exactly. When there's plenty of product. Right now, there's too much demand for distro. You have to be a big baller to get in. Yeah, I didn't even read iFOMOs, but iFOMOs pretty much nailed it right down the line there. So iFOMO, local LGSs, or talk directly to the stores that get distro. They might be able to dove you into some discounts if you buy enough. Yeah. And that's what I did actually in 2021. I've talked about that, is make friends with your distro. I mean, if you've got not distro, make friends with your old local LCS or LGS, because sometimes we might be getting into a perfect storm where possibly they might get buried in product. If we do see a large reprint and see a lot of product, that's what got me in with a local LCS, where I was able to get some really good deals for a long period of time just by working with those LCSs. Now, granted, if you just show up today and never been in there before, they're probably not going to wheel and deal with you. But I've been was going into that one for a lot of years and a long time before they actually gave me any kind of benefits for that kind of reasoning. And when we did get that mass reprint of Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies, and we had Celebrations, Fusion Strike all coming out at the same time where they were really strapped for cash, I had cash and I was ready to help them. And I bailed them out by getting some of that operating capital back. And they were selling me booster boxes pretty much at cost at that point in time to help them. And that's where you need to be ready to help them. It's a give and take. When you're working with an LCS, you can't just go in there and expect the benefits without giving something up. I was willing to give up my capital to get rid of their product, to unbury them a little bit so that they could breathe. And that may be something that might come again. I don't know if we're going to see that again, but it's definitely something that could be there in the future. But it definitely gave me a way in. Some LCSs are really willing to work on that as well. They're willing to work with you. Once again, loyalty is going to go a long way. Go to the pre-release tournaments. Go and play some Pokemon tournaments. Go and buy packs there regularly, even if they're a little bit more expensive than Walmart or your other stores or online places. Don't sit there and compare their prices to TCG Player. Horrible thing to do. I see guys do that all the time inside of the LCSs, and I just kind of laugh at them, and the owner will literally chase you out. These are all things that you don't want to do and are very bad ideas to be successful in getting them in the LCS. Become personal. Show you have knowledge. Show, maybe tell them what you're trying to do. if you're trying to be a streamer and you're trying to get your foot in the door and you're starting to maybe do a little bit of an online business, sometimes by you purchasing, and when they do pre-orders, you buy a case or two every single time, or you buy certain products every time, they know that that's there and they can put that into their budgets. So when they purchase, it can give them sometimes more benefits from their distributor as well by having those options available. So there's definitely ways that you could help them out. They may be telling you what that is that's going to help you out, and then they may be willing to help you out in return. So a lot of LCS owners are very, very open to the idea, as long as you're not like pushy, as long as you're not like trying to push yourself in there and get what you want without putting into consideration what may be good for them as well. So if you make those considerations and you do those things, there's definitely an opportunity to do that and have some availability to be able to get what you need as well. So what do we got here? Yeah, I got the LCS, his connections, but rarely buys. Yeah, all market. Dash, how you doing? Let's see you in the chat. This current environment of Pokemon is actually good for me because I just sold a ton of cards I never liked at a price of these high cards is high right now. LOL. Yeah, and it is. It's a really good opportunity in this market. That's like we were talking about. Was during the summer? During the summer is usually a really slow time for Pokemon. Guys that were on this live probably heard me say it several times. Now is a buying market. Buy. Because when we get in the fall or when we get in the fall, like Black Friday, Christmas, and all that, and in this one extreme, let's be 100% honest. But if you're continually buying, we're stocking up at low prices when booster boxes were cheap. And I've heard a lot of people like even PK even say it, and Dan at Catch 'em All Collectibles say it. These people don't buy in a slump market. They only want to buy when the product goes up in price, and then they want to buy it as cheap as they can, thinking that they're going to get it at MSRP or at distributor price in a boom market. And that's not it. I mean, a lot of times we buy stuff continuously and you're continuously filling the shelves. Granted, some of it may do really well, some of it may sit for a long period of time, but even look at Pokemon Go, guys. It's hard to believe that 2 years ago I was telling people to sell Pokemon Go at whatever price they could get it at because it just was not selling. And if this market hadn't changed, it's another one of those cases where we may be talking about this in another 2 years without the price of this going up. So if you were going to sit there and sit on Pokemon Go, for example, and it's really, really funny because a booster box now of Pokemon Go is $75. I was literally buying them at Walmart on clearance for $35 off the shelf 3 years ago. And that's just what we're seeing. Now, the funny thing is, and this is another one, I kind of laugh about it because I bought these and here they are. Once again, how a boom market can really, really save you is a perfect example are these boxes right here. So I bought these at GameStop and I bought them buy two, get one free. So we got these at MSRP. They were buy two, get one free. So literally the market now has finally, and I just bought them because they were cheap and this was just a cool little product. I thought this Dragonite would do fairly well. And the funny thing is that it literally took quite a few years, but guess what? I'm making money on this now just by sitting on it. Yes, sitting on it worked. Now, granted, is that always going to work? Is it going to work buying three of those for $30 a piece? A good business decision? Probably not. Overall, $33 a piece. But currently, right now, they're selling for roughly $45 to $50. Once again, market saved my butt. So a lot of times that can be the case in the Pokemon market as well. Sometimes you may make decisions that you think will be all right, and you might sit on it for a little bit, but you can sometimes just wait, and then eventually it does come out into your favor. It's just a matter sometimes of time, and if you have the time to be waiting on those things. Pokemon Go booster boxes sitting there right now currently at $75 when they were $35 and $38 forever, and they just would not sell. And all of a sudden now they're valuable. And it's just another change that can occur over time. And sometimes patience pays just as much as being smart. Let's see here. Smoothie says corporate greed is at an all-time high. It is. Corporate corruption in local targets, Walmarts, etc. Yep, I see even Sam's Club. When the Blooming Waters hits, I saw several of them just roll out pallets or roll out the whole pallet into some guy's truck in the back. and nobody on the storefront saw it. He knew the guy. One of the ones was found out, was actually investigated and fired. I believe that one was in Illinois or Indiana. I don't remember which one. But if you look it up, an individual was fired because they took a video of him on the back, literally rolling a whole pallet of the Blooming Waters into someone's vehicle, and it was a limit of 10 per person at that store, or 20 per person. And it was all recorded. The guy went after him and asked the manager why he did that. Why did we not see the product on the floor when there was a waiting line? People sat in line all night to try and get it. And yeah, the manager lost his job. So I don't know if it was worth it for him to do that, but definitely not a good situation. But it is just a showing that corporate greed is there. I'm sure whoever took those probably gave the manager a kickback of some kind for doing that. I wouldn't think the manager would take the risk of getting fired without some kind of kickback for the sales of those particular items, but definitely definitely one of those situations, and it's there. It's going to happen. It doesn't matter. Once again, as long as you're in a capitalistic style market where pricing is all based on the market and who has the most profit and gain in it, then you're going to continue to see these happen. We got Jimbo. Thank you so much for dropping in, bud. I haven't been able to buy anything besides a few Pokemon Center drops, and those sell out fast. Yeah, you have very little time to get in on those in any way, shape, or form. I sometimes catch them, but it's very slim. And even Distro right now, there's really nothing in it. So let me just go check real quick. I'll jump on to Southern Hobby because I'm kind of curious. If I go into Southern Hobby right now, Huh. All right. Well, we don't have any. Yeah, there's just the normal stuff. Nothing really crazy in here. Still can get the Charizard boxes. We can still get some of the tins. We can get. They have temporal forces, but you got to buy the stupid academies. So you got to buy academies to get those. Some of those are locked up. Yeah, they're not for sale on here, but I'm pretty sure they're still available because not too many people are doing that way. So yeah, there's not a lot of product yet. Not much out there currently available for the market. So hopefully we can see something here shortly. But yeah, even distribution right now is a disaster. People need hugs in their people need hugs in their childhood. I need a hug. Someone give me a hug. That would be weird. Go to Collecticon and someone just randomly comes up and hugs me and said, "Well, you told me to do it in your live." Yeah, that'd be weird. I think I only ever opened 2 jungle packs as a kid, and I would never buy a whole. Yeah, I opened a lot of jungle packs, but I used to play. We used to have a lot. We used to buy them really, really cheap. We used to buy jungle for like $39.99 a booster box, even $35 a booster box at some places, because they were literally just trying to clean it out of the shelf. Now it's sought after. Now it's expensive, but generally it wasn't a very expensive item. Even base set was extremely cheap. Even Neo, nobody really liked Neo at that point, and it was really easy to find that stuff. Let's see. So we got palette. He's got those 2. I switched to One Piece for a while. Give it 100%. Appreciate that, brother. Low down dirty 100. How you doing? Out of all the prismatic printed at this moment, what percentage do you think is still sitting in closets? Probably 15%, 15-20%. I don't think it's as high as you think, and I think I'm probably being generous on it. The problem is that it's not sitting in closets because people are ripping it and making money and big money on it. So in general, do I think that people are like this with with the couple ETBs sitting behind them? Yes, I think there's probably a lot of people with a couple of them hanging around. But when there's this kind of money floating around at this point in time, I don't think that at any point in time, I really don't think that that there's of any set more than 10 to 15% of it sitting around actually in storage. And in general, I think that even if you were to say it's 20 right now, within the next 6 months, it'll be gone. They'll be down to probably 10. Just because in general, most people don't have patience, which is a huge factor when you're talking about, if you're looking at it as an investment aspect, most people have about the patience or the attention span of being able to do something of about 6 months. So what I see is that people will, and you see it all the time, even in our videos, and you see other people talk about it in lives, in the chats and lives. So when someone's talking about opportunities investment, there's someone always in the chat or in the comments afterwards say, "Oh, it's just garbage. Just get rid of it and sell it." And that's 6 months after the release, even a year after release. So you'll see that window where everybody's just talking about how bad the product is, and that is a really interesting factor when you're looking at that. And that's really what you're looking at when you're talking about people holding product. Not a lot of people have it in closets. It's not a large percentage. It's not as large as some people may make it sound like, which is why I say a lot of times when people say investors are a problem or this group is a problem, it's realistically small percentages. Most of it's going to be open chase. How many people are chasing that Moonbryon trying to get that product? And I mean, that's just it. How many people in a stream? I can't put prismatic evolutions on my table right now without it just vaporizing. So if I even can get a prismatic evolutions product, it's gone. Even like I got my one Flareon tin. I did save out of the mini tins that I got. I got 4 of them from Walmart, so I got one Flareon tin, luckily. And that's another factor is that if I were to put that up for sale, it would be gone instantly. Prismatic just flies, and that's just how that set is. So I don't think a lot of people are sitting on that, but I think that's in general for a lot of sets. Paladin cards, I think the market will slow when the next generation comes around. I think so. Gen 10 will slow it down. That should be being announced here at any time. We should be getting information on Gen 10 because crazy to think that Gen 10 should be coming out next year. So 2026 should be Gen 10, and that should be the 30th anniversary as well, which is going to be interesting how they do that. Are we going to have XY 2.0? Are we going to do something? I don't know what they're going to do. So I'm really kind of interested to see how they're going to roll this out with the new Pokemon game coming out with, what is it, Z to A. So it's going to be really, I'm curious to see how they're going to roll this out for Gen 10. Are they going to go back to like a Gen, go back to a black and white reprint? Are we going to see a new starter list for that generation? Or are they going to go and use the old starter? I don't know. I mean, it's going to be cool. It's going to be interesting to see how they roll that out. Paladin card says SV base set on shelves for months and months in the 90s. Yeah. I could have bought that on Distributor all the way up through January. I think it was the beginning of January before it finally completely sold out. And that is the point in when everything went crazy. And even base set sat there. I could buy it from Distributor for, what was it, $98 a booster box. And then all of a sudden it was gone. I mean, the second that the pricing went over $100, Distributor just cleaned right out. So everybody got in front of it, and it was gone. So yeah, base set another one, just sat forever. If I set myself back in time machine, I wouldn't buy SP. No, I have a hard time. I mean, I have a case of it just because I do keep a case of every set, but in general, I'm not a big fan of base set. I mean, the only thing I really like out of there is the Gardevoir. I think the Gardevoir is a very, very nice, clean card that I do like, and that right from the beginning, I've always liked that particular card. So if we go to, so let's just say I go to sets, I'm going to go to Pokedata.io. And what's the best card? I know what I'm Drowsy. The Drowsy right now. Oh, that's in PSA 10. So yeah, the Drowsy right now, and that's new. I mean, realistically, the Drowsy wasn't even raw value. The Gardevoir EX is definitely the highest valued card at $55 right now. The Drowsy at $50. The Ralts and the Kirlia are definitely your top cards right now in that set for raw. But the Drowsy is definitely pushing on the PSA 10, and so is the Slowpoke. The funny thing is that I know why the Drowsy is so bad, because I got 3 of them, and they're all junk. I can't grade them. SV is so bad when it comes down to the gradability of cards, especially in those first, 4 sets. So anything from, base set all the way up until even through part of 151, but realistically all the way up to City and Flame, are all junk. So it's really, really hard to find grade. Ninetales. I've got 4 Ninetales. None of them are gradable. They all have either a ding on the top edge. They all have a machine, like a drag mark on the back. They are absolutely junk when it comes down to that. Pokemon is hard to grade. One Piece and Lorcana are easy options. Yes. Pokemon, especially in SB, is extremely hard to grade. Currently, like I said, I've been doing really good so far, but I'm really, really picky on my grading. So So far, out of the last 2 orders I put out, 10 apiece through GameStop, I've gotten 9 out of 10 on the 10s. But I just got this one back. Just listed this one on eBay. Really, really cool card. So I do love that Pikachu card. I question keeping it, but I do have another copy of it, a binder copy as well. So it's really, really fun. Really, really nice card. I do like that one. I like that one better than the VMAX personally. But yeah, I've been doing really good. I got this personal collection, of course. Everybody who knows me, I got my Japanese Flareon back, so I'm really happy to get that one in a PSA 10. That was a nice one to add into the collection, and then the other one that's going in my Mewtwo collection is going to be this one. So I got my Mewtwo GX, which is a nice little PSA 10 as well. So I'm doing pretty well on those, but I'm very, very picky. So there's probably ones that I should send that just I don't, because I'm just concerned that I won't get the grade. So definitely picky on my end. JP Pokemon. Let's see. Has anyone graded loose vintage booster packs? I have not. I have not done that at this point in time. Still hard to grade compared to OP. Let's see. Gimbo, I have a bunch. Wondering if it's worth it. 29. I know. That's the problem, is really, really hard to see that. Really hard to justify, especially since I don't understand the criteria for a graded pack. I don't understand how they decide how to grade the pack. It's not like a card where I know edges, corners, centering, surface, all those things are the factors. And if you go over a card really clean, you know it. The people I know that have graded packs in the past, it's just like throw it up in the air. This pack, they'll, for example, they'll go here and they'll grab like this Brilliant Stars pack, and they'll go like, oh yeah, no, there's no creases up. There's a crease in this corner down here, so they're not going to grade well. And oh, this edge is folded over just a little bit, so that might not grade well. I'm like, I don't understand it. They'll like look at it. So like this one, I'm assuming that the guy that I know that does it would sit there and look at it and go, no, there's print lines on it, so that's not worth. It's weird. I don't understand the criteria, so I just stay away from it. Yeah, I just saw iFOMO put up there. I don't think anybody understands the criteria to grade pack. I haven't found anybody that can tell me what the criteria is. I just know he's done a few of them, and I don't know if he's just done trial and error, and he'll look at a pack and go, no, it's not worth it. But I don't understand the criteria in any way, shape, or form. Maybe PK knows. Ask PK Gimbo. Yeah, that's what I would say, because I know PK's been doing quite a few sets of it for sure. It's more a question of what's the multiplier for 10, or do you make money on a 9? Yeah, that might just depend on the set as well. Oh, let's see here. Gimbo, iFOMO. I have unlimited base in English and in Japan, and have Jungle Fossil 96 Japanese base set packs. That'd be really nice. Wow, Gimbo, that'd be really cool to get those graded. That'd be just cool to have for your collection in general, but to get them graded would be really cool just to protect them for sure. Let me see. We've got. Just jump to the bottom. Hold on one second. Hold up. Wow, it really jumped to the bottom. Here we are. Now we're back. Anyone hoard? Everyone is hoarding this. Yeah, true. Either way, if you got them years ago, it's profitable regardless if you sell it now or later. Yep, exactly. Just waiting a lot of times is a big factor. If you feel like you can make more money taking that opportunity, go for it. But I feel like because vintage is so scarce and hype, would cause a bigger spike than it would in modern. It's just they're up maybe 30-40% in a few years, which is awesome. But compared that to any modern booster box. Yeah, modern's been it's been so volatile right now when it comes down to modern in general, though. That's a big issue. Very interesting situation you're in, Gimbo, or Jimbo. Why did I say Gimbo? Jimbo. Can't wait to hear what Northwoods thinks. Am I missing a question here? Oh, I did miss one. Sorry about that. I missed the top in 2021, and I'm back for a while and pumping the era. I'm missing a question here. Did it not put that? Hold on, let me turn on the full. I didn't realize I had it on top chat. See if I'm missing a question here, because I'm just wondering if you're wondering about the grading. The grading, I don't know. Like I said, it'd be cool to have just for the protection factor, but in general, I don't know if it'll, if you get a PSA 10, I think a lot of times it's for the protection factor. To have a really clean pack would be one thing, and have that would be cool for a collector to have. But personally, I'm not into graded packs, so it's not something that I would be interested in. I would rather have just a regular pack. But I could see the aesthetics of it, that if I was never planning on opening that pack, if I just wanted it for display and I wanted it to be my forever thing, then yeah, I could definitely see doing that as well. Hey, Blitzkrieg. Hey, Antonio. How you both doing today? So yeah, I don't know if I would grade them personally, but that's just me. I would just display them as they are. They make some really good acrylic case holders right now for the for packs as well. So that's been a nice thing that's out there. I've actually been seeing quite a few new cases and things that protect your different items. So whether you're trying to protect ETBs, if you're trying to protect packs, if you're trying to protect cards, there are getting to be some really cool acrylic options out there to definitely give you an opportunity to protect those things. Pokemon's never going down. No, it is not. I think it'll come down in price, but it's never gonna like disappear. Maybe, I don't know. iFOMO, thank you. I'll look him up. Rob's great. Yeah, red or blue are definitely. If you ever heard, red blue is really really good information. If you can get in on their chats, they definitely put out some good information as well. Some really good perspectives on stuff. So yeah, it's definitely iFOMO is definitely on that one. Make sure you check out them as well, and they do live streams every once in a while as well, so you can get some good information. Yep, Rob's great. He used to be my middleman. There you go. So you got the inside scoop. So Savior Nichols, I have over 150 vintage. Jeez. If I could get 1, 2, or 3, have years and years of FOMO. Just kind of gonna skip down a little bit because there's a lot of questions here, guys. You guys are cruising right now. Let's see. What do we got for questions? Rudy seems very bullish. Rudy is based on the market. I like Rudy as an individual. I like his content. He makes some really funny content. He does some really interesting perspectives, but he is very much hot and cold when, especially in the Pokemon field. He acts like he's big into it, but he's huge in Magic. He was huge in MetaZoo, but realistically, Pokemon, he is the most bipolar individual for Pokemon out there. When Pokemon's great, it's the best thing on earth. I've got my Pokemon wall. He shows all the stuff Pokemon. When Pokemon falls, it's by the toilet. This is about where it belongs, next to the shitter. He does all them videos, and then he comes back and Pokemon's good again. He builds another Pokemon wall and acts like he's always been huge in the Pokemon. Rudy's just all over the place. He's not very consistent on that part, but he has good perspectives when it comes down to investment in TCGs. So if you take the knowledge he has and base it on just TCGs in general versus just Magic or Pokemon, he has some very good perspectives, and I do enjoy Rudy's content. He's really, really good on it. It's just, to me, it's always funny how people kind of use him as the gold standard for Pokemon, but then he's just like, he's a roller coaster when it comes to Pokemon. He's just all over the place when it comes down to it. As my own independent person and thinker, not a Patreon sum, but feel the same vibe. Yeah, I don't have a Patreon, Rudy, either. I'm not that into sports cards. I can't get into sports. Some people have had me open it on streams, asked me to get it. I can get it from Distributor, and I've opened it up for just, open up the couple latest sets when they came out. I just cannot seem to get behind Wiz at all. It's just not really my cup of tea. Not gonna lie. I've tried. I've gone into it a little bit, but I'm not really that interested in that one. Just OP and Pokemon for me. If I diversified too much, I become a full-time job. Yeah, that can happen really quickly. I wouldn't buy Swartz after it tanked in the COVID era when I first started collecting. Seeing something go to 0 is a bad feeling. Yeah, that's never a good feeling in general. Seeing anything, regardless, that's where you can sit there and say, some people say, for me, if Pokemon went to 0, it would suck. I mean, it would suck to know that your collection's not worth anything. But in general, I would still keep the stuff because I do love the actual Pokemon. I love the cards. I love the TCG. So if it did go to 0, it is what it is. I would still enjoy it. And, I think that Jake from Pokenomics and myself have both said several times throughout the years is that if it went to 0 and it was in a dumpster, I'd still buy it. I was still collecting. I mean, I got binders full of collections that I've been collecting even when it was down through Scarlet and Violet. I mean, it just wasn't something that stopped me from buying it because it didn't have value in other people's eyes. It's just a matter of yourself and how you want to perceive it. If you're in it for just money, then it going to 0 is going to hurt. If you like the cards, you like the art, you like the way that the cards presented, then it's definitely going to determine whether or not you're going to stick with it or not. I don't think anyone understands the criteria of got through that. I went to a PSA interview. So if a $300 pack becomes $900 as a 10, it might be worth it. Yeah, definitely would be if it would do that. Not supposed to say what they talked about, but the packs were warm. I think it's pretty close to break even in a 9, maybe some profit. I think iPhone was right from what I remember on the packs when I did look at some of that stuff. There is definitely an opportunity to make a little bit of money on 9. You might at least break even on a 9, just because of the fact you are selling it with a protection on it. That's a little. That number one, they know that the card is probably real if it's in a PSA slab. Number two, you are giving it displayability and an easier way to display a pack without damaging the pack any further at that point in time. Limited base upgraded are selling $450 to a CG player. Blitzkrieg said, "Hey peeps, I'm seeing how market plays out. Crazy times, everybody throwing hands and stuff." Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Never a dull moment. Throwing hands, fighting each other, getting into fist fights over Pokemon cards. We're back to 2021, 2020, guys. Welcome for all you people that were not here in 2020, 2021. Welcome. Enjoy the hobby. That's pretty much where we're at this point in time. Zard pack is in a 10 is over 1K. Dash, do you hold on to Evolution's tins that had Evolving Skies but were later repacked with Scarlet and Violet packs? No. I don't usually keep any tins, like mini tins, or tins such as, you're probably talking like this one. So even like this tin, this is a poor example. I've just been keeping this one closed because I was going to do a video with it and I just haven't had time to do the video with it. So basically these tins were coming out for a long period of time. This is the only one I have that's not been opened, and I put the packs inside of a box over here. So this box right here is literally all of my packs that I pull out of stuff. So yeah, it's basically, no, I don't leave them in tins, because unless it's like the Flareon tin back here, this mini tin, that one for sure, or the Flareon tin I'm displaying, then of course I'm leaving it in there for display. But I don't leave things in tins just because as time goes on, they reuse the tins, and it makes up confusion when it comes down to, what's actually in the tin. So, for example, right here, this is just one of my what I call my breakdown box. So basically, I just pull all the packs. You can see one whole side's Evolving Skies. You got Brilliant Stars, all the ones. Killing Rain, Fusion Strike, all of them inside of there. And basically, that's just my breakdown box. So I buy those tins, I break the packs out, take the packs, put them inside the box, and then that way I can pull the packs or sell the packs individually. They'll still sell typically a little easier outside of the tins and potentially for a little bit more money just because you know what's inside that tin. You're not guessing. It gets rid of the guess game at that point in time. Jimbo says, I got them for next to nothing, stroke of luck, and a lifetime hype thing. I just want to get them sold while the market is crazy. Yeah, now's a good time to do it. Yeah, just try to pick up good ones. The strategy. Okay, FOMO. Antonio, have you seen the Prismatic Evolutions premium collection pre-order on TCG Player? I have not. I've honestly kind of ignored it. I got 6 of them coming. That was the most that I could get, was 6. So I'm not even putting them up for any, even talking about them as pre-orders at this point in time. because I tried to get 6 from each one of my distributors. I was able to get one of them to give me 6, and I don't even know if I'm getting that for sure. That's just what I'm told, is that I'm getting 6, and that was the most that they were willing to give. Like, most distributors are getting 6 of them, and that's it. Prismatic. Now I'm gonna look. Now you're gonna make me sad, probably. Prismatic. Missions Ultra. Why is it not coming up? Let's do this. Ultra Premium. Why is it not coming up? It's interesting. Got Greninja. Got the Sword and Shield Charizard, the 151. Why is it not coming up? And then the second I put Prismatic, it's gone. Ultra. Is it called an Ultra Premium Collection? Because it ain't coming up. Ah, Super Premium Collection. Ah, they changed the name of it. It's no longer an Ultra. Oh my God, $500. Well, yeah, I knew it'd be sad. Well, yeah, that's crazy. Oh, this set is just absolutely nuts, and I'm amazed that they just don't bury us in it and just be done with it. I wish they would. Let's see. We're gonna go through. I'm gonna skip that one. Just moving on. Jeez. Yep, it is currently on the market right now for TCG Player. It is now going for $500. $500 for a Prismatic Evolutions VTB. It's more expensive than Celebrations by far. Jimbo is finally going to solve the pack criteria from PSA. There we go. Grim the Nerd, how you doing? How's it going this evening? Yeah, boy. Graded, finally caught alive. Hey, Honeybee TCG, how you doing this evening? Once again, while there's a lot of people on here, I'm going to remind you guys too that I am looking to see if I can grow the channel memberships. So if you would like to support the channel, my goal is to try and get 30 people to join this year. You join, just helping me buy a cup of coffee every month, which is what I'm trying to do this year. So if you guys would like to help me out on that goal for the year, please consider the channel memberships and just do the emoji line, and that'll cover the cup of coffee for me every single day. So something to consider if you guys would like to support the channel and help me out on that crusade. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and continue. Thanks for answering my question. No problem. I'll jump to the bottom a little bit here. I'm going to skip down. You guys are going way too fast. Wow. The only tin I have with Evolving Skies is the 25th Celebration Lunchbox. Yes, I've got a couple of those too. Wonder when the fighting over Pokemon ends up in the news again. I'm actually surprised it hasn't at this point in time, the way that they're going. JR22, how you doing this evening? You got to say who you're talking to. Huh. Wasn't me. I didn't even know you were in here till just now. Absolutely, Jay. I do watch Alex. Let's see. I'm thinking of for potentially a few $1,000s, maybe grading isn't worth it. Sell. Yeah. Either way, I mean, let someone else do it if they want to. That's the bigger thing on that. Shane, welcome on in. I pulled a Ghastly today from Temporal Forces. I'm pretty happy. That's an awesome pull. Hopefully you did better than the 2 I have. They're not gradable. They're way off center. So hopefully your centering's better on yours. Hopefully some of these reprints, when they do come out, get a little bit better on the quality for sure. That'd be fantastic to help out. If you already have 10 extra money, then why, brother? Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Wow, you guys are just cruising. Thank you so much. Once again, greatly appreciated. Long term, those packs will go up like $5 a year for like 10 years, and then be unattainable and impossible to get. And even PK kind of talked about that too. And we talk about buying stuff in today's market and where we are right now at this point in time. It's always an interesting thing because even PK pointed out, you could grade a card right now. So let's just say, for example, if I pulled this one for example, if this got a 9 and the market continues to go up, let's just say this is the evolution, the actual English version of it, and I got this in a 9, and the Umbreon was a perfect example of that, right? as the time goes on, the 9, you lost money when you first graded it, but then you held on to it. Let's just say you held on to it for a year down the line. It was interesting to see how most cards that are like chases or like the Lugia or any of those cards in the 9 does not mean you lost money in 1 year. It just means you lost money today. If you held on to it, even a PSA 9 Umbreon has now surpassed losing money when you would have graded it. So even the raw price, everything moves up in price. Everything moves up, and when it moves up, you're getting ahead of it, right? You're actually making money at some point in time. It's just a matter of time a lot of times on these cards and on what you're actually doing. So let's see here. If you need money now, sell it. But if you can wait 10 years, just wait and sell it for like $1,000 each. And why does this keep doing that? It keeps shooting down to the bottom. It's under boxes. Any modern Pokemon when I feel the prices are acceptable. Reprint MV, SB era stuff. Prices are overpriced, and overpriced is the norm. So yeah, it's all right, I guess. If you click prismatic, yeah, I tried that. It didn't show up. I had to put in that super premium, and then I found it. Just going through, kind of talking back and forth. Like if you had 40K in vintage packs, wouldn't it be better to buy Surging Prismatic 151? Yeah, I mean, possibly. Vintage is probably going to have the least percentage gain, but if you're looking at total dollar amount at that point in time, a lot of times, even if you get, I go back and forth on it. Yeah, you're right. If you were to sell off, and let's just say you were to sell off your vintage at 40K right now, and you went and bought, Pokemon 151 ETBs or something, something that's going to be valuable here in the near future, even prismatic, and you bought it and you sat on it, the chances are is that the percentage gain is probably going to be higher on the modern, just because modern has a more, I want to say, a robust grouping of people that can buy it. And that's the bigger factor when you're looking at these particular sets is that sometimes it's all on who can buy the stuff and what your value is going to be in those particular items, and who's available to buy those items. Once again, if an ETB gets to be too expensive, there are packs inside easier to sell. Yes, you'll sell more packs. You may not make as much on a sale as an individual sale of an ETB, but you'll still make more. You'll be able to move them quicker, and they'll be on bigger market. Same thing with a booster box. Sometimes it's easier to sell a booster box. That's why I like 6-pack bundles, is because 6-pack bundles will sell faster when a booster box hits $200. Are people likely to pay $200 for a booster box, or are they willing to pay $40 or $45 for a booster bundle? And that's where you're looking at the market on who can buy things. And that's definitely going to be a factor futuristically on that. Who's going to be able to afford it, and how many people are in that bracket to be able to afford it are going to be the things you need to be looking at. In-hand disposable income, solid play. That's really all that you want to use. That's definitely the most important things. Going through, I'm looking for questions that pertain to where we're to the live here. How come PSA 9 is usually worth less than the raw version of the card? Or is this statement not really true? It is a lot, actually. Dash, part of the reason I think that occurs more than you think is because of the fact that it kind of shows that there's an issue with that card. A lot of people are buying raw cards. Even myself, sometimes I'm buying raw cards. I'm trying to source them in order to take a chance at a 10. But if you grade it as a 10, that means that, or if you grade it as a 9 already, that already means that the card has an issue with it that did not allow it to become a 10. So a lot of times what happens is that people that want the chance at a 10 for grading or for a business opportunity are not going to be able to do that futuristic, or not get that 10 that they may potentially be looking for. So that's why a 9 sometimes will sell a little bit cheaper. Granted, a 9 right now, maybe you might lose money on it, but in 6 months it may be gaining money because it'll go up in value kind of relative to the 10 overall. Well, you guys are just going to town. How much would I have if I sold my vintage packs for 50K in 2021 and bought all, I don't know, Fusion Strike and Chilling Reign? How much would I have? Like, yeah, exactly. It is. I mean, it's easy to say now, and that's the problem is, Jimbo, hindsight's always 2020, right? We didn't know If you would have asked me 2 years ago that we'd be in the same market that we were in 2021, I would have thought you were nuts, because there's no reason that this market should be here. And the only culprit to it is the fact that Pokemon International isn't increasing pricing. So there's a lot of variables that, once again, you're looking for black swan events that continually occur in a repetitive motion. And trust me, if I could go back, I would have bought another 20, 30 cases of Evolving Skies at $99 right now. And imagine how much money that would be. So $99 a booster box, and I could have bought several cases and been way, way out there. And these are the things. You can't always look back and say, yeah, this was a dumb move for me not to do that. Same thing, it's always looking like that. You can look at that with XY Evolutions. That sat on the market for 4 years and didn't move at all in price. And all of a sudden now it's almost $1,000 a booster box as well. So you could bought that at $79 a booster box, and now it's up, pushing right up there with all the rest of them. And it's just crazy. If you could sit there and go back in time and pick and choose what's going to do extremely well and what's not, you wouldn't be just sitting here talking. You'd be on an island in Bora Bora, probably owning the thing and just relaxing at this point in time. So kind of like Bitcoin. If I would have gone against my wife's wishes and went and bought a Bitcoin when it first came out with the friend that I did, he's sitting there with now $30 million in his pocket, and I don't have any because I didn't buy any crypto at that point in time, because my wife said it was kind of a gamble. Not saying it's anything wrong against her. It really was. Nobody knew how it was going to perform. But once again, hindsight's always 2020. We can never know all the decisions that are going to lead up, that everything's going to play out right, that everything's going to go the right direction, and that everything's going to come out perfect at the end of the tunnel to make these events actually occur the way that you want them to. And that's the way to look at it a lot of times as well, is don't sit there and try and, justify selling all this off to do something. All right, which is why I want to sell vintage by modern. Right? Yeah, and right now though, Jimbo, I don't think that that's really the play. I'm just gonna, yeah, your analysis paralysis, and I'm gonna tell you what. If I had vintage right now, I would sit, because vintage is likely not to fall as far as modern if we get monster reprints, if the market changes. Modern is going to look at it like this. Your vintage is going to be what I would consider your low risk funds. So basically, you're going to have those low risk items in your portfolio, and you're going to have your high risk items in your portfolio if you're looking at like a 401k. Basically, what you've got is your modern is going to be your conservative side of your portfolio. It's going to go up in price, probably relatively slow compared to a lot of other things, but there's not the risk or the chance of it collapsing. Now, I know it's really hard sometimes to sit there and make the comparison to like a stock market or anything like that. But if you look at modern is more like your high risk. It's going to be one of those high risk situations where if you wanted to sell your modern now and you wanted to sit there and take that money and hold it for a little bit, and when the market finally collapses, goes down in price to where it's more reasonable, that would be a time to jump in on it. So your modern is going to be your high risk part of your portfolio. That's going to be your sun and moon, your XY, your black and white are going to be your moderate risks because they're starting to stabilize. They're starting to become more of a known modern. Your modern is going to be your roller coaster. It's going to be up and down, hot and cold. Some sets will do fantastic. Some sets won't move. Reprints will really jump. Things will really change. Things will fly. It's all over the place. Just look at the last 4 years. I mean, you could sit there and say, you look at the roller coaster that's occurred. You could have bought in on Vivid Voltage at $280 on a modern booster box set, $240 for Vivid Voltage, and you still may not be getting to that point yet where you're even profitable on it. So it can happen. There were people buying Battle Styles back in 2021 for $185 a booster box because they went crazy on it, thinking that it was going to be this huge thing because everybody was stuck in hype and FOMO. And everything looks great and everything looks good, but the fact is that you have to really look at what could happen when you're looking at those particular items. Vintage is going to stay pretty consistent. Your growth is pretty similar, slow, methodical, and it's going to continue to move up, and it's going to continue to go up in value. So if it was me, I would probably sell down some of my vintage if I'm not like emotionally attached to it. I would sell some of that and prepare for a market to drop. When the market drops, take part of that and make another portfolio with it where you're buying those high risk items. That way you don't jeopardize your full investment portfolio. Leave some of that just conservative. Know that it's doing well. You know that vintage is going to be your rock. That's going to create your pillar of your investment. Use part of it to now go back and buy that high risk. And then you can play the high risk game to see how well it goes. Wait for a huge reprint. When we get a huge reprint, buy in on that and get in on that. So that's a good opportunity to maybe make a multi-tiered portfolio at this point in time and keep that kind of building. Maybe go into the sun and moon too, because now you can jump in on that and it's going to really move up and kind of have that consistent growth at this point too. Maybe some downs, maybe some ups, a little bit more movement than your vintage, but definitely starting to stabilize a lot more than where we are in any kind of market in the modern side. Even Sword and Shield is now starting to stabilize. We're starting to see that kind of that consistent growth on it and not necessarily being affected as much as we are seeing with like Scarlet and Violet right now. So Scarlet and Violet prices, a lot of them are superseding that point of, what we're seeing with even Sword and Shield, which is hard to believe, but over time we may see corrections on that as well. So once again, when people start leaving, when the easy money's gone, when the hyper FOMO starts to die down, is Scarlet and Violet base set going to maintain $250? You really have to look at the set in general and try and figure out how does that particular booster box, if it gets up that high, maintain that trajectory and stay there. And it's really hard to justify it when you think of all the better sets that are potentially out there for the same price range. For $200, how many other better sets than Scarlet and Violet base set is there out there? So deep pockets, old money. That's a good way to look at it. The vintage stuff is your deep pockets and your old money. Split it. I mean, if you want to take the risk, you've got a good investment. Instead of $40,000, you have $20,000 in that mod or that vintage. Take that vintage and roll it and start making some profit on the volatile market, just like you would on your 401k or your Roth IRA. Mine split off where I'm split 50-50 conservative. I got my rock, and then I have my high value or my high risk where it's moving all over the place, and it just makes big money, and move it at the right time so you don't get out of it. I moved it about 6 months ago, right when the 4 or 5 months ago. I moved it all out of high risk now, and now I'm in conservative just because of the fact the markets have been very volatile. So Journey Together being $200 plus is just wild to me. It's absolutely insane. Journey Together is probably the set that made the most sad since returning to the scene in 2020. Journey Together makes no sense. The sentence in general is just very, very weak. I'm not even going to lie and sit there and try and justify it. I can't. I have not seen a content creator yet justify to me why they think Journey Together should be that price. I don't see it. I really don't at this point in time. I don't see why it should be that price. There's not enough in it. Isn't that the Team Rocket set or no? No, Journey Together is not the Team Rocket set. That's the newer Gym Challenge set is what a lot of people are calling it. So that's the new Gym Challenge set. Overall, not really. So if you want to know which one that one is, it is actually the what do they call it? Battle Partners. It's a 1-for-1 with Battle Partners. The new set coming out right now in Japan, I think it's releasing next week, is going to be the first part of Team Rocket. So Team Rocket is our next set. The first set in Japanese is releasing right now. What is it called? Not Battle Stadium, or I can't remember what it's called. It's just coming. I just ordered some of it here for streaming. But yeah, then the first part of Team Rocket is just coming out right now. The Journey Together is like the Gym Challenge. So it's got like the little gym faces on some of the cards and all that. It reminds me of Dream League Cosmic Eclipse. Yeah, very similar. It's a very similar. You got the Lily. Lily is going to be your big driver in that set, just like we saw in Sun and Moon. So Lily Clefairy is your top chase in that one. But yeah, Team Rocket set just releasing. I'm pretty sure it's not this weekend, but next weekend. So we'll have the first part of Team Rocket. The second part will be shortly after that. But all right, guys, it's already 10:20. It's our 10:20. So we've been going for already an hour and 20 minutes. Guys, you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody. And I see there's 27 people liking. Please, or watching. Please hit that like button. See if we can bump the stream up. We got 102 people on here tonight. Greatly appreciated. And the average viewing is 16 minutes. Guys, you guys are fantastic tonight. Greatly appreciate all the chats. Absolutely awesome. Greatly appreciated all that. Might be good for the market. Honestly, cool thing. It's off a bit. It may. The problem is that it really has. Yeah, heat. There it is. Heat Wave Arena. That's the one that's the new one coming out. So, yep, Heat Wave Arena. That's going to be the first part of the Team Rocket set. It was fun. Thank you guys. The discussions were awesome tonight. Thanks for your advice, y'all, and really appreciate it on the packs. FOMO. No, you're very welcome. Greatly appreciated, Jimbo, on that. Honeybee liked. Great show. Thank you so much, Honeybee TCG. Thank you for joining us once again. Greatly appreciated. Not really. I need to make. So yeah, once again, greatly appreciate everybody once again for joining us here. We will be back next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central Time, as always, even after time change. So it's greatly appreciated to have you guys here this evening and supporting the chat. Definitely come back next week. Love the discussion. Love the chat on this one. Absolutely fantastic. And hopefully you guys can have some fun here and we can discuss some more things coming up next week. It's been crazy. So journey together, getting closer. So it will be really cool to see. But otherwise, thank you guys, everybody, for joining. As always, hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your week and a great weekend. It's warming up here in the Northern Hemisphere. So summer's just around the corner, guys. Spring and summer are here. But otherwise, hopefully you guys have some fun, and make sure you guys get your taxes done here and get your tax returns if you have them available to spur on some of your purchases here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.